been doing a lot of checking of wiring. That's the last thing to do really, and then managed to get all the indicators working. One in there, on the back, other side, one there, one there, headlights, and high beam. Okay, that's on there as well. It's all working. Brake light bulb, one of the bulbs is out at the back, but so that's all working. And the horn is also working as well. But obviously you'll notice I'm using the the ones from the NC2 at least, Storks. So I thought was quite happy when I found all the connections were the same on the back of the 91 Storks and the MC2 Storks, but the wiring is really different. So I need to figure that all out. I'm going to take them both off and try and work out what the difference is between them, and if I can do some kind of conversion between one and the other. But other than that, everything's working, and it's just a matter of kind of cleaning everything up. So that's pretty good, pretty happy about that. I just need to get to the bottom of this whole thing. So these are both very similar things. It's mainly this centre bracket that's different, and that I need it to be different because this is how it bolts up to the steering column. So you can just undo these two posi drive screws and pull the actual Stork out. So this is the one for the wash wipe and stuff like that. And then you take out these two screws, and then you have to get rid of this little bit there. It's I don't know, like a little bit of extra raised plastic, so I just kind of drilled that out. And then I think you're going to have to undo these two, this one and then this one, and see if I can take the other one out. The main differences about this is the horn. So in the MC2 you've got this little wire at the back, comes through to the top here and then comes out here, and then that will go to your horn. Whereas with the steering column and the old Stork setup I was using before, it's this thing here that contacts with the back of your boss. So that onto that little bit of metal there, and then this little connector goes onto your horn. So I need to kind of figure that one out, but really it should be quite simple. I just need to make sure I have this part here connected to the output of the plug there, which is actually this one here. So as long as I can do that, I should be okay and have a horn. But anyway, I've done this now, so I can just basically take each of these off. Like so. So I need this bit, and this one, and this. Get rid of that. This goes in here like that. See, it's not quite the highway home. And that goes there like that, and that is the highway home. So all I have to do now is get rid of a little bit of plastic around the back here, which should be easy enough with some snips or something, or a file. It's nearly the whole way there, and it's done. The only thing that's slightly weird about it is that the actual labels are upside down. So it really is just the tiniest bit of plastic to remove there, the other side's alright. And yeah, then just can think about how to make this thing work. So you see here, all I need to do is connect up this wire here, that one, there's the grey one in the middle, and mount it up to this, and I think I'm done. So I've taken the little wire that goes from into this part here, put it into the connector it's meant to go into, and then this one usually goes into this thing. I'm going to just put a spade on that, and then feed the spade into here, and then that will touch onto the back of that, and I'll be all good. This is my setup. This is the little grey plug that goes to there. This is the spade that I've just bent to 90 degrees, and then I can just basically put it in here and just push it in. It's a nice snug fit. Get the Stork, and then just place it in like this. Always doing things one-handed doesn't help. There we go. So that's in there like that. Best thing about that is that's actually keeping the spade snug in there, which is cool. And then I can just get two 10mm, not 10mm, I can just get two, then I can just get two screws in there, and the one that was for there as well. I just took that out because I wasn't sure if I had to take the whole thing out yet, but I didn't, so I just put them back in. That's what that side of things looks like, which is all good. And then I just need to do a little modification here, and that's this bit of plastic I need to grind down. So what I'll do is I'll just mark it out with a pen, and then just file it off. Here, that's the little bit I need to get rid of. Just put it in pen, and see I'm only having to move it over, don't know, not even a centimetre. So I'm just going to take a little bit out of that with a file, and show what it looks like. That's the little corner I've just filed off with the file there, and I'll just show you it fits up quite nicely now. So you see, there's the edge I just did. Then here you can see it's just going in there nicely now. Just like that. So I can get the two little screws in there. So then we'll just put it on. Like so. Two posi drive screws, top and bottom. I can just put this little thing in here, which I'm sure that should all be one piece, but it's not at the moment. But either way, this just knocks the indicators off. It goes in like this, so. And then the aftermarket Boss I've got, so I need to make sure I have it. You see the steering wheel's here, so one of the Allen, or the holes for the Allen bolt needs to be right at the top, so I'll make sure that's where it is. The 19mm nut on, notice that's a nylock, but I haven't torqued it down yet, so I need to do that. So put the steering wheel on, so obviously put the horn and centre, this aluminium ring on the steering wheel, make sure you connect that to this connector, and put this little disc on as well. It's got different offset holes, but just spin it around to the one that actually is going to work for you. And yeah, just connect it up with these little Allen bolts. Worth saying, you need to connect it to this middle one, not the outside one. Otherwise the horn will always be on. It's all done, so that works. Right indicator, left indicator, side light you can't quite see, full beam. So in the end I've just switched everything around. Indicators on this side, so all the icons are proper, and then obviously all the wipers and stuff this side. So yeah, lose some JDM points, but it's, everything's where it should be. I just did this by undoing these 2 bolts and just turning the whole thing over 180 degrees basically, and the whole thing fits up because the 2 mounting bolts here are symmetrical, so it's all easily done. Right, so the steering wheel's obviously on, but I've been having some problems with these 3mm Allen bolts because basically a couple of the heads are kind of stripping off every now and then, and I don't trust them anymore. So what I've done is a bit of an upgrade. I've got the same type of threaded bolts, Allen. This time it's 4mm head rather than the 3mm, and it's made out of titanium. It's gold, so anodized or something like that, some treatment, and it's M5 by 20mm long. So yeah, they'll do the exact same job, but they'll look a bit nicer, and also that being a 4mm head, it's less likely to strip off, and obviously the material being titanium is going to be a lot stronger, so, and lighter. Not that this really will make a big difference, but either way I'm going to just put them on and show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, there we have it. It's not very good light, but either way I think it looks quite nice, and definitely better than the old bolts that were kind of coming off. At least the heads are coming off them, and it was hard to take them off and on. So, you know, that looks cool, and it's done. What I'm trying to do today is go from the old heater controls in the MC2, the Aerodeck, and then try and get it connected so that these, you know, the old school switch works here from the EF. So what I've done is I've done a pin out for all of it, and you can see here, it may or may not make sense, but this bit is what pinned out. So this is always the back of the plug, so this is the MC2. So I've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then these are the ones that are connected. The top 2 obviously aren't there. And then in position 1 of the switch, you have 1, 2, and 5. So 1, 2, and 5. The 2, you have 1, 2, and 6, and then 7, and 8. So that's how it works. And then EF, I've done the same thing as well. So what I've done is get this, put it into different positions, and build out what the connector on the back does, and then it gives you this. But the nice thing is, and the thing that's a bit stupid on my part, is that actually the old connector that goes in the back of the EF is actually got the same wiring as before. But anyway, I've built it all out, so I know it's all true. But here, the EF, I just want it black, white and blue, blue and black, thin blue, blue and yellow, and green. And that's it. So all I need to do, so then I don't have this connector. This is from the old MC2 one. This is this whole thing with the AC and all other types of things. It goes in there. So take that out. That's out the picture. And then I can just start taking these out. So I've got these 2 out already. And it's just a matter of basically sliding your screwdriver down like that. You see it. So you slide you see that? Yeah. You just slide your screwdriver down the back. Right, let me just line it up. Just slide it down the back. You can. You try and do this. There you go, slide it down the back, and I'll do it again.
When you do one properly.
Okay, I'll do one properly. So slide this little screwdriver, flathead, down the back of the connector.
And
you're basically pushing it.
Let's see it when it's in.
There you go.
Okay.
And just pull out the connector.
It's easy, isn't it?
It's easy and fun. Do you want me to? I'll do another one.
Oh, you're on a roll.
Yeah. No, I'm not.
At least you could work in a factory.
Yeah, there you go. Right. Here's the next one. And last one. Why not? 3's a charm. Maybe it's not. Let me work on this one. Taking this connector off, the MC2 one. Taking this one on here. So again, from top left, it's black, white, blue, large blue and black. Then on the bottom, we've got thin blue, we've got a blue and yellow, and we've got the thin little green one. And then plug it in here, hope it works. So something really stupid. Oh yeah, that's in there. One click of the ignition. Then, yay! Is it toasty? It won't be toasty, Andy, because the engine isn't running. But we've connected extension wires for the indicators in the wings. So we just put these wires on the wires that were originally had the old indicators on. So then we can just thread them up and through out to the wings. We've done that at both sides. As you know, also we've got this connector for the heating I showed you before, but also got this connector which is just for the lights. Now both the bulbs are blown, but when I change the bulbs they'll work now. I think the next thing we've really got to do is try and slim down what we've got in here so that we can fit it. I'm not too worried about this side because we've got a lot of space under this side. We've got an extra fuse box here, but I'm pretty sure I can push that up into where it is there. I'm more worried about this side. So we've got a lot of wires here.
Is this a wire tuck pull?
This is the wire tuck. Even in the centre we're okay. We can get rid of some of these modules and stuff.
With the light.
But here we've got a real problem. We've got too many wires. I really need to thin some of this stuff out. And we just need to get rid of stuff that we don't need. So some of the candidates for things we don't need are stuff like all the wiring for the doors. It's obviously not running electric windows or anything, and I just need to go through and start thinning that out. So I think that's the next plan. We're in the rear to the right hand side of the car, and I'm replacing this bulb, which is this is the fog, but in the EF, as you know, we've got these ones. And so what I've done is I've just soldered from here. It had two wires, the two black ones can go to the black one I have in the rear, and this red with a white stripe is going to the red and yellow, and that's for the fogs. And I've got one here which is a red with black stripe, and that one is for the number plate lights. And what I've got to do is find out where that is. It should be in here. One of these pins should go to 12 volts when the lights come on, and all I need to do is find out which pin that is, so then I can know which one should be wired to that. So I'm going to quickly do that. Yeah. So the lights are on now. I've got it in this pin here. Turn lights off. There's nothing. Turn lights on. Great, okay. And that's this pin here, which is third one in, and that is the red wire. So I just need to connect that to my red and black wire for the number plate lights, and I should be okay. Go on, headlights. Yeah, indicators. Yeah, other one, brakes. It's good to me, mate. Fogs. Yeah, nice one, mate. Working on the car recently, I've noticed that the rev gauge, the coolant gauge and the fuel gauge have all stopped working, so let's show you. Right, so clearly I'm not at 0 revs, and been trying to work that out, and there's lots of things you should check initially. So looking at the fuse box, first of all there's the one called backup lights, which is there, 10 amp fuse, which because my fuse box is upside down I'm looking that way, so it's the second amp one. so it's there. And then what I've noticed is that that isn't blown. But one thing I have done is, because I've got these clocks here, at some point it must have fallen over backwards, and what's happened is I've actually slightly damaged them in terms of that's grounded out. So what I can do to resolve this is simply bridge, because this is the actual power. The yellow wire on the right hand side there is actually the power for the clocks. So if I get a bit of wire, that little bit of wire there, jam it in there, and then touch it on where it goes round, this one on the right there, where it says, to the right of where it says T. If I touch it on there, it kind of bridges the gap of where it's actually been I don't know, shorted out, and then I get power again. But it doesn't matter, because I'm not going to run these clocks anyway, because they're way too big. But it's just words to the wise, and I usually do it, but I knew I wasn't keeping these clocks or keeping them in for any length of time, so I didn't put some kind of insulation or anything between the clocks and the steering wheel, which we grounded out on, because that's obviously an earth, or the the bit of the back of the metal here, because this is all metal under here. So yeah, words to the wise, just don't do that, and then you won't have that problem. But I'm going to fit S2000 clocks in anyway, which I've bought, so it's not really a problem. But it's just I've scratched my head for ages looking on forums and everything, and it was just my own stupidity in the end. So there you go. Another thing I'm going to do is this wiring for the windscreen wipers. You can see here it's the round style, and here it's this kind of, I don't know what you'd call it, but different shape. And I'm just going to basically change all the wires in this connector for one off the kind of OBD-O connector. The good news is all the wires are exactly the same colours, so all you need to do is match them up. And I'm just going to make the decision of if I can depin this, which I think I can depin that quite happily. The problem is depinning this one, but keeping that seal okay. So I'm going to just have to think about that, but I might just try and depin that one first. Obviously the battery's off, and see if I can depin this one. Okay, first of all I've just plucked that out with a screwdriver, and same again for this one. Pluck the side, pull that out, and then I should be able to depin these quite easily. I have to do it one-handed, but you can see all the connectors are just in there. It's the usual matter of just putting the screwdriver down there. So in the end I decided not to peel that all back, but just to put these spades in, insulate that all up. I'm going to neaten that up at some point and just basically solder these straight to these plugs, but let's first see if this all works. Okay, moment of truth. Yeah. So that's all working. Different speeds work, so that's the single bit. Okay. Fast. Strikes me as that needs tightening up, the drive side or right hand side one, so see if I can tighten that blade up. It seems a bit loose. It's just getting juddery because it's getting dry on the windscreen, but either way that's a win, that works. Right, now come back down to here. I really need to find the correct connectors, because obviously these are the MC2 connectors, and I just want to basically wire all these so they work with the, because you see these don't go in properly, so I need to make sure they all work with the EF little connectors. So I'm going to need to find them first. I haven't really filmed a lot of this, but really it's a matter of cutting the old connectors off and putting the EF connectors on. Only one thing I'd say is that this one here, which is the indicator, has two black earth wires coming out of it. So all you need to do is join those two together and basically connect it like so. So it just, these two wires here go into this one single wire here, but it's the same connections really. Yeah, and that's it. So that's how they're looking. Just soldering and heat shrinking everything on and taping everything as it should be. And I've just got to do the same to this side. As you can see, these connectors don't really fit in here, so that's why I'm using the EF connectors, so it just, you know, has a nice fit up. It's all done, side, and then that side. Pretty sure it will work now. It's going fast, but I'll put the indicator on. That's working. It's going fast because I've taken the front part, but that's working. I'm sure it's all working, so good news. Let's just turn these on. Yeah. Check. Just a quick review. I've got all the lights working front and back. My gauges are working, but I only want to change them. My heater fans are working. Everything's actually working. So now I've just got the kind of fun job of just seeing what I don't need. And this is going to be quite a simple matter of unplugging stuff and checking if I've got the functionality still, because I can't afford to have all this stuff underneath here. So that really is my next game, is to basically see what do I need, what do I not need, and just take loads of stuff out, such as ABS stuff. I think that's ABS, but I just need to trim all this right the way down and just run a very basic setup underneath it, because I don't have space. Up the back wiring a bit and zip tie things out of the way. I've removed some of the rubber grommets and stuff we don't need that are bulking up the whole thing. There's still other stuff I could probably get rid of, like the ABS wiring, stuff like that, but I'm not too bothered about that. The next thing I want to get working is the door close switches, which are here. And the best way of doing that really is by, well, you can undo them just there, but the threads get knackered after a while on those, and they're hard to do anything with. So you take off the seat belt as soon as the interior is out, and we can get this little connector in there, up in there both sides, and then it will tell me when the doors are open on the dash. Right, I've decided to go through and get rid of some of the wiring I don't need. So this all looks like a rat's nest at the moment, but it's quite a simple process. So all you need to do is go through and decide which wires you need, as in which plugs you need mainly, and then just at some point you'll have to cut the end of the plug off. Right, I've found a good example of a wire. So so here, this is the plug that goes back to the rear lights, and there's one wire I've cut off here, and basically comes to where it gets joined. So what we need to do is, obviously the bit I'm not keeping, just neatly cut it off with some snips there, and then just tape it up so that it won't ground out and anything, and then just continue on the journey. So we're basically doing, taking all the extra wire and plugs you don't need and moving forward. But this all looks bad now, but trust me, it's not that difficult. Right, this is all the wiring I've removed. Quite a lot of stuff there, mainly to do with the fact that this is only a two-door car. I don't have electric windows and stuff. This is really only the stuff from the back in the middle of the car. You can see I've massively reduced what I've got there. I've only got two wires going over to the passenger side here. One which is for the handbrake position sensor, I guess, and one is for the door. That's it. And these are all the wires
I'm not going to be using. There's a lot, it's probably half of them I'm not using, because this car had rear speakers in the doors, I think, and in the roof, lots of stuff. So that's kind of as far as I'm going to get maybe today. But the most important thing, once you have done all that stuff, is that you check that it still works, which it does. My headlights still work, indicators still work, brakes and all that stuff. So just check the functionality you want is still there. Brake light, yeah, the brake lights still work, and the reverse position works. This was on, but I don't know if there's too much corrosion in that. Need to have a look at that because it was kind of half on. So yeah, it's just corrosion. Right, that's the thing about these, they're open to the elements, but it's gone off again. And it's on. There we go, on. So everything works. It's a bit of relief. And yeah, then the next job will be to obviously tidy this back up and put some of that corrugated stuff around it. But it's going to be much easier to fit now. Before I was trying to see where I could put stuff like all the ABS rear sensors and all that stuff, but there was no space down there. So this way I might have half a hope in trying to slim this stuff down a bit more even, especially now I know what I need to get rid of to here, so I can trace all this stuff up into here and possibly remove even more stuff. So there's other switches I wouldn't mind removing, like all the stuff to do with the aircon. Just anything I don't need I'm going to get rid of. Saves weight as well.